Money. It affects our everyday life. But how do we make more of it? Manage it. And make sure we make the most of our money. Welcome to Money Mindful, a podcast to teach and support you as you learn to manage your money.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to episode 13 of the Money Mindful podcast. This is the last episode for the season. I know, right? Where did the time go? Christmas is next week. What an amazing year. I love the end of the year. For me, it is always a time of reflection. Looking back over everything I have achieved and planning for what I want to do next. Super fun, but a little scary too, yeah? It's funny, I always get excited when I dream about new goals, but when the dust settles and I actually write it down on paper and start planning for it, I always get a bit scared. Does this happen to you? That worry that you've bitten off more than you can chew, or maybe you're being a bit too ambitious. I certainly get like this. All my doubts come up, but I don't let it stop me for too long. I have a big goal on the horizon that I might share with you next year when we kick off the new season. I've been bubbling away with what I want to do next year now that my circumstances are changing and we're moving into state. Some new possibilities are opening up, but I'll save this for when I return next year. I wanted to mention to you that each episode has an accompanying post on the website. I recently realized that I might not have mentioned that to you, and some of you might want to know this, that you can go to the website and listen directly to the podcast through the website on the podcast player. And also underneath that, each episode is also written out. It's not quite an exact transcript, but it covers all the main points mentioned on the episode. I tailor it to suit the written format. Someone mentioned to me that they don't like listening to podcasts. Shock, horror, I know. Who are these people? So I have the accompanying written post for each episode on the website for that exact purpose. If you prefer to read, you can access it on the episode post. The listener shout out today goes to Fresh, Smart and Practical. These podcasts have an intimacy that is very appealing. If you thought money management was for accountants, think again. Everyone will benefit from Meaghan's cool analysis of your everyday money concerns, and even better, how to make more than the most of what you have right now. The clue is in the title, Mindfulness, being aware and informed about your own finances, especially brilliant for women and men at the most energetic and productive stages of life, and full of good sense for anyone of any age. And that is from Haliotis Iris. Thank you for that amazing review. I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate getting feedback from you. It is really fantastic to hear that you are enjoying the show and getting so much out of it. Okay, let's get into it. I'm just going to warn you that I'm about to get my woman power rant on, and it does involve a few swear words. So if the kids are in the car, or if you don't want to hear a rant, you might want to skip the next section of the podcast. So a couple of weeks back, I got my first nasty message from someone. I won't go into details because some things are not worth repeating. However, one of the points that struck me from the message was that the guy wrote that the podcast was, in his words, incredibly simplistic, and financial strategy is a double-degree uni course. I wanted to bring this up here because I think this is the myth that many of us get caught up in, that money and looking after your finances by investing or planning for your future is this complex thing that you have to go to uni to understand. That is some complete bullshit right there. Do you remember earlier this year I mentioned I had been saving money for my daughters and I invested it in September this year? Well, in 3 short months, I've already made $150 on that investment. So, okay, yes, I admit I do have postgraduate qualifications. I am from a white middle-class family, and I live in a country where getting a degree is still in reach for most people. I'm privileged, okay? There, I've said it. However, I didn't have to go to uni to learn about how to look after myself financially or learn anything I know now about making money at uni. Financial strategy is simplistic. It's only complex for people that make out that it is in order to feel good about themselves, how clever they are investing in futures and options. Listen, let the little boys play with their complicated toys. Meanwhile, us women will get down to the simple business of looking after ourselves financially by using simple strategies and supporting each other. By the way, men, because I know there's a few of you out there who are listening, I love you. I'm just getting my rant on about people who try to put others down. No offense intended. I hope you don't take offense. There are many basic concepts about budgeting, saving, and investing that you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand or implement. I think many people, particularly women, don't realize how easy it is or have simply never been taught. So I don't think it was meant to be a compliment, but I will certainly take it as one that yes, this podcast is incredibly simplistic, and thank goodness it's accessible to all, because you shouldn't have to or need to be a financial advisor to understand money. If everyone had to do a double degree uni course to understand money, we would all be up shit creek. Making the most of our money would only be available to a privileged few who had those degrees. I will add that yes, of course, if you want to be a world economist and do international bank mergers, well, yeah, you probably need to get a double degree at uni. I was at a party on the weekend and surprise, surprise, I ended up in 2 separate conversations about money. One was to do with a person having to deal with the paperwork headache after a friend had died suddenly. They couldn't organise payments for her bills because they were all on monthly direct debits. But the bank had already closed her accounts, so they were having to pay for it all themselves while they were working on getting the authorizations to close all her billing accounts. This was a real issue for them. So if you're wondering why I was banging on about getting your estate affairs in order, this is why. And have something set up where someone you trust has access to your billing information or your email password, because that's where most of your bills get sent to, right? Anyway, I won't go into that now in great detail because you can hear me talk about that in episode 11 from a couple of weeks back. The second conversation with someone who was with someone who works for a superannuation company in claims, and she was telling me how she often receives claims from women who want to access some of their super early due to financial hardship, often for a variety of reasons: domestic violence, partnership breakup. The women would often have no idea where their money was invested or other important facts about their super, and would say they'd been putting it off to call. The women felt uncomfortable because they didn't really understand super or they had a low balance. These conversations get me so fired up and give me a renewed enthusiasm for this podcast, as if I need any more. Please don't let anyone ever try and convince you that you are not smart enough or that your money strategies are too simple. The simpler, the better, I say, and this goes for any time you're seeking financial advice. There is certainly a place to get expert financial advice and use expert services like ones I've mentioned in previous episodes. But again, if anyone makes you feel like you don't know what you're doing or talks down to you, move on. Talk to your girlfriends about money. Share information. I'm not suggesting you should follow the advice of a friend to invest in some hot stock. You know, there are, let me just pick some random career. They own a restaurant and then they're telling you about stocks. No, I'm not suggesting that. But I am suggesting get information about money out in the open. Women are so good at supporting each other and telling stories. Share your money story. Your best friend might be having the exact same issue as you, and you may find you can work together to solve the problem. That's exactly what I did with my friend when we were both buying a property at the same time. We asked questions. We helped each other. Also, there is an amazing community of women on Instagram. Regular women like you and me who are wanting to either get out of debt or just do better financially. They are all very open and supportive about money and what they do. You can get onto my Instagram at Money Mindful Podcast and see who I'm following. I'll put a link in the show notes. You will also find communities there that you can search. So you could search hashtags like debt-free community, or a good one to be a part of is the hashtag I look like an investor. So when you're in Instagram, you can just go into the search function and put a hashtag and then write I look like an investor. Women just don't invest as much as men, and this community is there to show you that women of all races and walks of life are investors. So get on to following that one. The women who started the I Look Like an Investor movement are, their Insta handles are, so you can find them, are Boss Girl Millionaire, Finesse Finance, and Tay's Journey 3. But I follow all three of those women, and you can certainly find them through my Instagram account, Money Mindful Podcast, if you go into who I'm following. So there you go. I just could not pass up the opportunity to mention these points. I'm so glad I got that negative message because it just reminded me to reach out and say, if you feel shame or embarrassed because you don't feel like you know much about finance, that's okay. You can change that. There are plenty of books you can read to educate yourself, and there is a strong community of women that is growing online who are educating themselves about money, and we will open you with open arms. Did I just say we will open you with open arms? We will welcome you with open arms. I can't give you financial advice, obviously, but please reach out. If you're getting stuck or feel overwhelmed, you can email me at Meaghan, Meaghan, at moneymindful.com.au. I want to support women to empower themselves about money and financial literacy, so reach out. Okay, that was a major passion rant, and it's now over. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Moving on, I have a Christmas present for you. As I said earlier, this is the last episode for the season, but I am certainly not going to leave you empty-handed. I have prepared a self-care and money guidebook for you. It's called Self-Care and Money, 3 Steps to Practice Financial Self-Care. Plus, there's a bonus Money Mindful guide. Yay! I can't wait for you to get a hold of it. We all know about looking after our health and physical well-being, right? I don't need to get into that. Self-care is a topic we see increasingly on social media. We know about taking time out for ourselves, getting a massage or going to a yoga class. But what about self-care when it comes to money? Our personal finances are often an area of our lives that we neglect. We don't give it the attention it deserves and then wonder why we're in debt or can't seem to get ahead. Well, rest assured that you are not alone and you are in the right place. I designed the guidebook to give you quick and simple actionable steps you can start doing straight away to look after yourself financially. Taking action to improve your finances is obviously a great step towards creating financial security and freedom. However, to really set yourself up for success, creating awareness around what you believe about money shines a light on how much you have and why. If you believe people with money are not nice people or that money isn't important, it should come as no surprise that you may not have much of it. Why would you want to be one of those nasty rich people or spend time taking action about something you believe is not important? Does this make sense? This guidebook will help you take the first steps towards creating financial security and freedom in your life. You will learn what you believe about money and how that affects how much you have. You will learn what your net worth is. You will learn the first steps to get your finances in order. This should give you the opportunity to reframe your finances from overwhelm and worry to self-care and clarity. Now, to access the self-care and money guide, you need to go to the website at www.moneymindful.com.au/self-care. So that's www.moneymindful.com.au/self-care. When you're there, you need to opt into the Money Mindful Ladies Club, and there you will get access to the free guidebook. And to all my Money Mindful ladies, don't worry, I have your back. I sent a link to the guidebook out to you already this morning in an email. That's another reason why you want to get on the Money Mindful Ladies list, because I send an email out to the Money Mindful ladies every Tuesday morning when the podcast drops, and there's often links to articles that I think are relevant to what we're talking about and things like this free guide. Making this podcast has been life-changing because it has made me realize if you have an idea, it is possible just to follow through and do it. This is how I want to live my life. I was speaking to my daughter's teacher at Kinder, and she was telling me how since listening to the show, she's changed some of her money habits and she's already saved a considerable amount of money in the 4 figures. Yes! Doing something that has a positive impact on others, I don't really think it gets better than this. So if you are at ground zero or in debt, it's not too late to start. You are right where you need to be. Don't worry. If you don't have all the answers, just take one step at a time, then another and another, and before you know it, you'll be kicking ass, financially speaking. And not only that, I find once you get started in one area of your life, getting it sorted, it filters out to the other areas of your life, don't you think? So thank you for being with me on the Money Mindful journey this season. I hope you are learning that it is possible to look after yourself financially. You just need to take the first step, and then the next, and then the next. Baby steps are all you need. A little plus often equals a lot. I'm not sure who said that, but I sure do find it so helpful to focus on when I'm feeling overwhelmed starting something new. That's a little plus often equals a lot. Maybe my coach said it, I'm not sure, but I just love that so much. It's time for me to take a break and move my family to New South Wales. Oh, I cannot wait. And I cannot wait to reconnect with you again in the new year. Remember, you can get the self-care and money guide by going to moneymindful.com.au/self-care. The holidays is the perfect season to take some time out for yourself and start practicing a little self-care mentally, physically, and financially. I will keep you posted on Instagram at Money Mindful Podcast or on Facebook on the Money Mindful page. I will let you know there when I will be back for season 2 in the new year. I have lots of plans and people I want to interview, so stay tuned for that in 2020. Thanks for having me in your ears. Have a beautiful holiday season. Until next year, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Money Mindful podcast. For more info, visit moneymindful.com.au. For future episodes, be sure to subscribe. And remember, the information in this podcast is of a general nature only and does not take into account your personal circumstances or goals. Please seek professional advice for your own financial needs. Remember to have fun along the way.